10 years after writing her first book, Bay Area author Jessica O'Dwyer is diving into fiction for her debut novel, Mother, Mother. The story explores themes of love, family, race, also power. Jessica, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Great to have you. And the story is written from the perspectives of two mothers, a white woman who adopts a Guatemalan child and the child's birth mother. What did you do to get insight about writing with Rosalba's voice, the birth mother?
Oh, great question. Well, that was a really important part of writing the book, of course, because it was essential that I get her voice correct. We're in reunion with both of our kids' birth mothers and have been for some 10 years. And my daughter's birth mother is Kiese, Maya, one of the 22 indigenous groups in Guatemala. So I know her quite well from visiting every year. And Guatemala has many indigenous people, and I know many of them personally. So I'm able to observe and write from that perspective, from close observation, I would say. Close observation and close respect.
Two important things, of course. You also did a ton of research for the book. What details, facts, or pieces of information did you find most interesting, or something you didn't expect to discover through your research?
Well, I thought I knew something about Central American history, but I must say I was not aware of the 36-year armed conflict that went on in Guatemala, started with the deposition of the democratically elected president, Arbenz, in 1954. And that really started a cascade of events that led to disruption in the culture that continues today. We see it now in what's happening in Central America and Guatemala. So what I really learned was what's happening today at the border. We can draw a straight line, what happened during the conflict of 36 years and started in 1954.
So the book is fictional, but draws a lot from real life and historical facts. As you mentioned, you adopted two kids yourself from Guatemala. Did you feel like you had more freedom writing it as a novel so you could mix in real life experiences without making it nonfiction?
Definitely. So I had written a memoir that was published in 2010, and that was all factual. It was completely based on our experience. And I decided I had said everything I needed to say about our experience, and I wanted to broaden the experience now. And the only way you can tell that kind of truth, ironically, is through fiction. And the way that you do that is you base it on fact, which is I did lots and lots of research, reading first-person accounts, reading diaries and translation by Maryknoll nuns who were there, who lived in Guatemala in the 80s, by indigenous men who kept diaries that were translated. And so I felt like I had so much information that was essential to telling this story. And it needed to be bigger than just my story. It was a much larger story. And that's how I decided I could only tell truth through fiction.
And a big part of that story is about identity. You talked about your kids. How do you try to give your kids part of their native heritage, also while remaining authentic?
That's a challenge that I don't think I was prepared for, to be honest. And I don't know that any adoptive parent. Well, no, I'll speak only for myself. Stepping into the indigenous culture of Guatemala was something I was not really schooled in. So it was something I had to learn by trial and error. We go to Guatemala every year. We spend a month there. We interact with the culture. My kids study Spanish. We visit with their birth families. We travel all over the country. So we're very lucky we're able to do that. I think that any adoptive parent who adopts internationally really must walk in with an open mind and an open heart. You are really taking in another culture. You are absorbing another culture into your family. So I always say our family has expanded, and now it's part Guatemalan, and that's a critical part of our family, and we do everything we can to honor that.
And what do you hope people get out of the book? And an important question as well, where can people buy it?
Well, what I hope people get out of the book is a deeper understanding of the complexity of adoption. We sort of think of it in rainbows and unicorns a lot of times. A child needs a family, and we adopt them. But really, it's essential for adoptive parents to understand, for readers to understand that there's a story that begins before the adoption ever happens, and that's a child's backstory. And that's the chapter 1 that happens before they come to you, which is chapter 2. And I hope that readers come away from my book understanding more deeply the complexity of adoption and what people who are adopted go through, and that is they suffer some loss before they are brought into their new home. And we need to understand that loss is intrinsic to adoption as much as beautiful love and joy is intrinsic to adoption. Where people can buy my book is their local independent bookstore. They can also buy it on Amazon.
All right, lots of options. Jessica O'Dwyer, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. What a pleasure. I'm honored.